Hey yo, what it is, y'all? Let me get right into it. I'm gonna give you guys a quick update on my Gemma One Ring of Ice character as it blasting in profounds and chilling. It's nice and smooth and comfortable. The damage is finally starting to come through. Made some good upgrades. Did some good thinking actually about how the character is going to scale, as well as just making sure that I actually get the most out of like the pre-priceless stage of the character. Or then when I go in game and show you the character, it does have priceless gear on now because I'm starting to work towards on Traveler and Deep Space. But I was able to reach 20-25 billion without even getting into the priceless gear. And that's the important thing because that's when profound starts to actually become runnable. The league mechanic is a little bit rough at that point, but it starts to feel a lot better. And we're, as per usual, the description will have the build codes. Also written up a guide on Heroic, like the new site that came around to fill the void that Metro left. So you can actually see a lot more of my thoughts like in full, in detail about, the earlier stage of the character and the later stage of the character in one go. Yeah, generally the character is doing really well, and I'd like to go ahead and go in game and show you guys. So now that we're in game, it has actually been a long time since I've shown you the character because this character is the last cut I gave you guys. If you've been watching on stream over on Twitch, you've seen the character grow from this point very far. But the gear is much better than this now. We are no longer wearing Ice and Fire or the rare chest. We'll talk about that in a moment. Right? Some of the skill stuff is all out of the same, but man, this is before I read the memories, before I really updated my slates, even. My candles are, still kind of weak, or it's actually only one of them is super weak. I'm still wearing one of these candles actually, but you'll see I got a lot of the good like T1 gear, right? This is a very good initial point, but you're going to find that I'm very serious about when I talk about it as the need for rotational iteration across your character and how you should be going. Whoop, upgrade here, then upgrade here, then upgrade here, and then come back around to continue. Even if you go down to like day 4 character and the growth that we had there, replace Israfel's or replace Isofire with Israfel's to get a massive upgrade in that slot. Then, finish crafting a better belt, dividing stuff up here, and then, look around. Memories are orange, right? Much better memories now. I haven't upgraded the candle situation yet. We're looking at getting better slates. There's a really annoying bug, by the way, where if you're in a pro build and you are looking at somebody's slates and you click a slate, it will freak out, lack of better wording, right? Maybe I can just do it this way and it'll look a little bit better. Yeah, here we go. You'll see like here, my slates start to come are like a little bit stronger, right? Like we've got +1 crit damage and +1 cold, or just the +1 spell burst, or this, right? We start to upgrade, but you have to buy upgrades incrementally to be able to get more power, to farm out more efficiently, to get more power. It's a loop, right? And it's a bit annoying, but it is the method for upgrading, and that's how you end up with where we were even like 20 bill when I started really farming profounds. If you look at my slates, right? Now it's +1 spell burst and +1 cold that also has 8% damage against frostbitten on it. Unfortunately, the other two lines on here are useless, but I didn't feel like spending more money on that, right? Or you have my new pedigree that is burnout preparation, which I'm going to talk about that in a moment here. And then you continue to look around. This piece is now, upgraded to legendary notes to have the same 8% again, right? This is like that iterative upgrading process where we then also had like the Israfel's upgrade. We upgraded the dream talking on our weapons, so it actually gave us more damage. That was something we hadn't done before, right? Going step by step, upgraded our candle to get percent damage on our second candle again. Again, step by step, going around the character and making improvements. Is there are so many ways to increase your damage by 10, 20, like 10%. And so you go back and loop around a lot of them. And then you get to where my character currently is. We do this. And now it's doubled the damage since then, just making these two weapons. So one of the biggest upgrades that has been made in the character since then is actually the change in my pedigree. Mostly because there are very cheap pedigrees that are out there for us, right? Like if you're playing this build, we get cheap pedigrees. Burnout preparation is really cheap, for example, or really just burnout itself. It makes things really, really cheap. But this is 24% additional damage for us. And the downside is completely irrelevant due to our 75 too. Right? Ice to Blaze makes it so that enemies, while they are frostbitten, have a fixed fire resistance. So it doesn't actually matter that their fire resistance goes up by 20. My fire res is fixed at our number. Therefore, who cares? Burnout's really good for us and not that many other builds. So it makes getting a good pedigree a lot easier. Right? You can't just go like, oh yeah, I'll get burnout off the beaten track. Doesn't matter. Off the beaten track is too expensive anyways. Because it's off the beaten track. But we'll go there eventually. But burnout prep is a very good like starting point for a really strong pedigree. And then, upgrading the rest of your slates as well. Or you look at my candle situation or my memory situation, right? I haven't upgraded this in it's been since I upgraded these since the last video, and I did it one time and I haven't touched it since because of other this was so much power that I didn't need to touch it again. But look how much crit damage I have on here. Every single memory is giving me almost 80% crit damage each. Right? Like if I took off all my memories, it's a lot of crit damage. And I actually did a thing on stream recently where it realized that we were like going through people's build codes, and I saw that people did not have hero memories like leveled and invested in. And just as a dramatic show, I put on terrible hero memories that were level 1 and like blue or purple to like show them like how weak their memories were. And I realized that my memories actually like double my damage, right? Between the trait level that you get out of it as well as the stats on the memories, they actually worth so much damage. So please make sure you are putting some good TLC into your memories, right? Now, outside of that, other major gear changes, of course, we have not changed the false gods yet, and we probably won't. Like, I'm probably just going to try. I'm going to try double corrupting this just to see if it goes anywhere, and if it doesn't, I'll probably just recraft over it. Just because the Israfels was a recent pickup. I saw this on the Asia ladder actually, and it reminded me that I wanted to try it out this season because the flat cold requirement was a lot easier to hit. Last season, this item required 1200 flat cold or intelligence to get the flat cold. Now it only requires 600, and it still is a pretty strong item. Plus, the 36% int is a lot of both flat ES and a lot of percent damage. A lot of it's just a lot of int for us, right? So big deal there. Israfel Laws is probably one of the highest scaling items for this build, just in terms of opening up a new avenue by which we can scale the character through by really leaning into the focus blessing part of the build. That's when the focus blessing slates start to really get good. It's when you have an Israfel's Laws. And then these gear pieces have not actually changed. And now, for stuff that we're starting to work on, it's priceless gear, right? I would say once you're in the ballpark of like 15 to 20 billion already, I would start to save up to buy any priceless wand base. And I really do mean any priceless wand base. It literally does not matter what this base affix is. It's about getting a cheap priceless wand base because this modifier right here, additional damage for skills cast by spell burst, when I was messing around in testing, right? Like looking at my old T1, my old full T1 wands. And at one point I had a weapon I had this weapon right here where it was just like this T1 and I think maybe this like the spell burst was like T2. And I like crafted on a bunch of like T5s and whatnot because I was just really, really poor after hitting that state of the weapon. And it was almost equivalent damage to my old wand. I just noticed I haven't even dream talked this one yet, and it still was it was almost equivalent damage, right? With just those two mods basically, and a little bit of extra assistance. And so very important to know that ultimate weapon modifiers on priceless gear is how you start to really go from painting through profounds to pushing profounds, right? That's when you are like pumping them out. That's when you're farming them because your goal at that point, maybe it's not your goal, but like for me, I'm headed to deep space. That's where I want to go with this character. I want to take this character through Supreme Showdown. I can absolutely do it. And so going through your ultimate gear is going to be the next big thing at some point. Keep that in mind. How high you prioritize this over the next thing I'm going to tell you about is debatable, right? There's just a lot of upgrades that can be made, and it's on you to figure out which ones are cheapest for you. And this next one I want to talk about is from Niv, the Snow Pain Owl. You haven't been down here to her. She's very friendly, and she is the one who allows you to level up these supports, Ice Seal and Cascade. These were also picked up and really upgraded. I'm still working on them because I need to get them to T0 as opposed to T1s, but T0s are a little too expensive still. But you'll notice when they are level to 5, they get 20% additional damage each, right? So the difference between level 1's version of these and level 5 version of these, so I'm running 2 of these, is effectively a 44% damage increase. just for, buying up these duplicates. These are a really consistent source of damage increase that I thought was very worth it. And I would absolutely recommend that you like keep your eye on the birdie for, right? We also got our activation burst at the medium, activation medium burst activation to make the playstyle super comfortable. And that's pretty much all of the changes that I have done so far. There's probably smaller, minute changes that have happened here and there. You'll be able to go through the build codes and see for yourself what all you need, right? Um, Remember, I did also make a guide for it that'll be in the description, so you can like really like read through and see a lot more of the detailed thoughts between the two videos that I've made so far about this character. The last thing to talk about here a little bit is the same thing at the bottom of the guide, actually. So talk a little bit about how I plan on scaling this character going forward. And the fact that, I will probably make videos here when I start to hit more thresholds, but I don't need to, depends on how fast I'm hitting these thresholds, right? But it's going to be things like getting my priceless gear done, right? There's a lot of priceless gear worth doing. Wands need to be finished. The helmet is a very strong priceless slot. And you might be thinking, well, what about Surging Inspiration? I have reason to believe that Surging Inspiration may not be our best in slot helmet. And it has to do with the fact that we don't have a source of activating the spell. We don't have a really good way to activate the spell burst gain condition on it. And it only gives 25% additional damage, right? 25 to 35% additional damage, I think it was. And so if you look here, right, there's +1 spell burst on helmets. That T0s to also give 10% additional spell burst damage, right? And then we can also get sealed mana compensation. And that's a really strong, like sealed mana compensation on the helmet would allow us to fit in another activation, whether that be Energy Fortress for defensiveness, or like a Spirit for offensive purposes, probably Thunder Spirit, right? But like the option becomes available to us through having an ultimate helmet, and I don't think that Surging Inspiration offers that anymore. Thanks to my buddy Alifa for testing out Surging Inspiration and finding out that it actually does not feel all that great if you don't have, if you're not like constantly casting, right? Because we're not casting. A really important detail about our blight, right? We're not actually casting any really with burst activation going. And so we would need a different way to have it keep going. And it just wasn't really working for us in that degree. If you want to not run burst activation, by the way, it will definitely work for that. But I like running burst activation too much. Or if you want to keep clicking it even through burst activation, which I do sometimes on bosses, but I get to buy a helmet for like those for that like weird scenario because sometimes I just be dodging and running around on bosses anyways. The next spot is going to be the neck at some point. This does actually let us, you can scale pretty hard on false gods, especially if you buy one that's like triple int or something even further up than that. Maybe get some corrosion effects here. But I'm going to take this in the direction of a priceless neck, because priceless necks give, I don't have a neck on me at the moment, but you can get +1 spell burst on necks as well. Or more importantly, the T0 for neck spell burst is beacon, which means that we will be able to free ourselves of this point here and go chilly. And that would give us sustained charge generation, like much faster charge generation, which then allows us to look at the slate mod that gives us agility blessing. And what is it? It's where is it at? It's an elemental. This right here. This can get me on slates or on the tree, but it gives us 8% chance to gain tenacity and agility blessings with receiving focus blessings, and that's really strong for us. That gives us a way to it gives us some of the damage that we would be losing by some of the damage back, but more importantly, the tenacity blessings are going to be really really helpful for actually surviving as we go into higher content. This is absolutely worth looking to, and it's actually one of the things I miss the most about when I was still running photophobia on this character. So that's like another direction that we're headed in, right? And then it's just going to be a lot of generic upgrades from that point forward. We're going to go for like +1 focus blessing on the dream talkings, getting T0 getting rings with +1 focus blessing, right? And large amounts of pen, or even stuff like double damage or whatever, right? Like that part's kind of self-explanatory, or like kind of whatever. But there's a couple meaningful decisions to be made at the neck and helmet slot that I wanted to emphasize, as well as yet again, like always, rotating through the character. The memories at some point will have to go to red, or at the very least, I might just get a new batch of these and get like more on oranges. Who knows? Depends on what they cost, right? I'll probably want to do reds though, so I don't have to spend that much money on those. You could also go to say like going to get more pedigrees. Maybe I want to get an off the beaten track pedigree to really lean into my aura setup with potential like lone walkers, or getting better, getting stronger slates, potentially even legendary slates if the availability starts to really like come together. Sparks of Mothfire, etc. Right? Iterating through the character step by step. This includes on the candles, where these are all single damage lines. I either want double damage lines or I want these candles to include just like a support. It's a very basic, like useless stuff, more or less useless stuff otherwise. But we'll see. That's all where we're headed. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate that you guys have been rocking with the village. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down below or by the stream or by the Discord for questions. Also, feel free to check out the guide and let me know what you think about it. First time I've written long content for this game. And so if I messed if you feel that there's anything that's missing or whatnot, I would love to hear the feedback so that I can improve upon it. Right. And that's it from me. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.